four-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion, and now Commanders radio analyst, London Fletcher. An honor to have you on the show. Congratulations on the week, the excitement, your career, everything. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm living a dream, just watching this team play week in and week out. And I can't believe that we're playing in the NFC Championship this weekend against the Philadelphia Eagles. Don't wake me. I'm dreaming is kind of how I feel.
When did they convince you they could do it? What was the moment this season as you're in there with the team, you're interviewing Dan Quinn? What was the moment that you said, yeah, maybe it's not such a dream?
Well, I would say when you look at some of the games that we won down the stretch, even thinking about the Philadelphia Eagles game where we won in Week 16 with overcoming 5 turnovers and winning that ball game, the way Jaden played in that ball game, especially the game-winning touchdown that he threw to Jamison Crowder, where he throws that ball to a spot before Crowder even clears the linebacker. And I actually just rewatched that again, and you see him in the poise and the presence that he has. He's out there. You see him just gaining confidence week in and week out. So in that moment, I felt like, man, this team can do a lot of damage once we get into the playoffs, and that has come to a reality, and that's why we're playing in the NFC Championship game.
Before we even get into this game, you know a little something about beating the Eagles in the NFC Championship, okay? I'd like to take you back to 2001. You're with the Rams. The Eagles,
okay,
they try a reverse with James Thrash and make the tackle for a loss. How much of this, what do you remember about this play?
I remember the celebration. John Madden was on the game, and I think he said I did a dog walk after the tackle. So just that's what I remember most. So that was a spur of the moment type of play.
That wasn't planned?
No, not at all. That was the first and only time I've ever did the dog walk in a game. I just remember just having a great deal of respect for that Eagles team. Andy Reid, who I think is, if not the best coach of all time, one of the best coaches to ever do it. Always a tough game, playing in the dome, in that environment, just with everything on the line. We had played the Eagles earlier that season. I think it was the opening game of the season of that 2001 season, then to play them in the NFC Championship game. So it was a great hard-fought game that we came away with the victory in that game.
16 years in the league, 4 with the Rams, 5 with the Bills, 7 in Washington. You're in the Commanders' Ring of Fame. You're close to the team. You're calling their games. How many questions do I have to ask you before we talk about the Hall of Fame?
Let's talk about however you want to do it. We can get it to those guys first, or we can get it to me first.
No, I want to talk about you. I want to talk about you. What's your relationship in 2025 with the Hall of Fame?
2025, so I made the initial list, and I didn't get to the semifinalist list, which was shocking to me. I was a semifinalist a year ago, and then when they pared the list down to 25 guys, I didn't make it, and I'm perplexed by that. Quite frankly, a little peed off about it, because when you look at my career, the numbers, in totality, what I was able to accomplish, there are not many players that played the position that can compete with what I did from during my 16-year career. So for me not to even be a finalist, semifinalist this year, and quite frankly not already be in the Hall of Fame is
it's BS.
It's BS. Yeah, I know it's I don't want to use the word, but yeah, BS. It's BS.
Well, 14 seasons with 100-plus total tackles. That is the most in NFL history. 256 consecutive regular season games played. That's tough by any standard, and that's absolutely insane. I wonder what you think. Is there something that we need to emphasize? Like, have you been given any info? Do you go looking for the info of why not? It doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't make any sense, and the thing that I guess, in order for my presenter to make a case for me, I have to get to the final 10. So, there's some politics that go into it where you have to kind of call around to the voters and whoever, is representing you, or some people hire publicists or things like that to go out and get their, make their case. But yeah. I'm looking at like my reputation, my numbers are my resume. Like, why do I need to politic based off of what I did on the football field. So, it's about being able to get into the room. I mean, I've had letters written by from Tom Brady to
Wow.
I mean it's some heavy hitters that Curtis Martin, bunch of Hall of Famers, that Tony Gonzalez. I mean, it's on my behalf that have competed against me and know what it was like to Shady McCoy just recently said I was the best linebacker he ever played against, and he played against some great ones. So, and he'll be in the Hall of Fame one day. So I don't know what else I need to do.
I mean, maybe I need to help the rep. Okay. I'm trying to think of who we could. I mean, Magic Johnson's in the ownership group now for you. I feel like it's somebody maybe on the Commander side that we can try to get, but your instincts were unreal. I hear it from every great that I've ever sat with, and your name's come up about your instincts. You were the best player on a Super Bowl winning defense, undeniably so. You gave such great moments. You're, in my opinion, the smartest linebacker in the league, and it's the biggest oversight, if I can say this, and no disrespect to the Hall of Fame or anything, it's the biggest oversight and travesty over the last decade, I think. Second all-time in tackles, only Ray Lewis with more. London Fletcher belongs in the Hall of Fame. It is BS, let me say it. And then Bobby Wagner will be there, and he'll join you if they get the Super Bowl. Let's talk about, are you close to Bobby Wagner? Have you developed a relationship with him?
I have. I actually developed a relationship back with Bobby back in 2019 before he even ever thought about joining the Commanders. He reached out to me on X. It was Twitter back then. And he reached out to me, just sent a message like, hey, man, big fan of your game. Wanted to talk, love to connect. And then I responded to him, and we developed a relationship, had several conversations about just helping this game. And I was very humble because at that point in time, Bobby was already well established in his career, had already put up Hall of Fame type numbers, was a Super Bowl champion. And so for him to have the respect of the guys who did it before him, and have the respect for my game, it was humbling. And, obviously with him playing in Washington now, I was so thrilled when we signed him because I knew what he would bring from a leadership standpoint and all those things, but I also knew what he would bring from a productivity standpoint. Bobby's still playing at an extremely high level, evident with him being named second team All-Pro, and he's helped get this team to the NFC Championship game and hopefully to the Super Bowl with his leadership and his playmaking and how he's helped bring this team together.
Hold on. Hold on here. Bobby reaches out to you. You develop a relationship. You're sort of guiding him, at least you guys are friendly. And then he just ends up on the Commanders. Give me a break. What was your role in the recruiting process? Tell me right now.
I played zero role in that.
I don't know if I believe you.
Think about this. So with Bobby, he played for Dan Quinn back in Seattle.
I know that
Dan
connection,
Quinn and then Ken Norton Jr., who it was his longtime linebacker coach, is the linebacker coach in Washington. So I didn't have to do anything.
You had nothing to do with it.
Nothing. I found out when the rest of the world found out that. Now that I mentioned it, now that I think about it, dang, Bob, you could have let me give me a 3-minute hands up. Hey, Fletcher, I'm signing with Washington, man.
I think it says a lot about him that as a made man, he's always just trying to better himself, reach out, do the right things.
It really does. It really does.
Yeah, he's just about my favorite player that's ever existed. He's like, I'm such a huge fan. I want this for him. How did they do it? How did they beat the Eagles?
Well, it's gonna take them playing a lot like they played against the Detroit Lions and how they played in Tampa Bay. They got this brotherhood, this confidence that they can beat anybody. I love the karate with this team. I love the preparation. Dan Quinn, he has brought this team together, and the anybody, anywhere, anytime mantra. It's not just a mantra; it's a way of life for these guys. They feel like they can go into Philadelphia. They don't view themselves as underdogs. As I see the point spread that FanDuel has on there. Got 6.5 point underdogs.
What do you think?
Listen, I don't bet, I don't gamble, but if I did, listen, I believe in these guys right here, and there's no reason why they're not gonna fear going into Philadelphia. They know it's going to be tough. Philadelphia's a great football team. Got a lot of talent. Saquon Barkley's having an MVP caliber season, and it's going to be extremely difficult. That environment is Philadelphia. They got great fans, man. I always loved. That was actually my favorite stadium to play in on the road. It was because they fans, man, they're just so passionate, and so I can't wait for that environment. But I love my football team, man. And I can't wait to see those guys play on Sunday afternoon.
When you say they won't be rattled going into the link, I've been saying it too. I just don't see Jaden shriveling. I don't see Jaden, the moment being too big for him. I don't think the fans are going to be too loud or scary to him. You get to see this. I'm jealous. They didn't let me meet him. DQ, they didn't let Adam. They said, I didn't get to meet him in August when I was there. I haven't met him yet. You get to be around him, not even for the on-field moments and in the locker room moments, but you're around him a lot more than people. What have you noticed about him, or something that maybe we don't get to see behind the scenes?
Well, I'll say this. He hasn't changed from the day I met him and the first time we interviewed him, which was the day after he got drafted. And we interviewed him, and I'm looking at him and listening to him talk, and I'm like, man, he has so much humility, and just you can see, he was confident, but that moment where you're like, hey, this is a kid, a player who's comes in as the number 2 overall draft pick. He's won the Heisman Trophy, and yet he has so much humility. And then you see the work ethic and how he's remained the same throughout his course of his rookie season. I've been around a bunch of rookies who hadn't accomplished anywhere near the type of things that Jaden has accomplished before getting into the league. They feel entitled. They feel like people, have to give them things. He's earned the respect of his teammates with his work ethic. He's earned the respect of his guys with the way he plays.
Yeah, he's special.
Just the humility that he goes about it. And he's unflappable. He doesn't get on these highs and lows, and where he's real emotional, and then he's down in the dumps and all that. Tremendous amount of confidence. And Dan Quinn said there's a killer in that helmet, and he has that quiet confidence. He has that quiet confidence, especially when the game's on the line. You can just see him thriving. Like, man, this is what I've dreamed about my whole life. He has great parents. They've raised him extremely well. And man, the thing is, Kay, he's only going to get better. That's the scary thing. He's only going to get better.
There's a killer in that helmet. What was the line? What does Dan Quinn say?
Dan Quinn said there's a killer underneath that helmet.
And we're talking about confidence, and I'm like, well, yeah, the team has confidence in him. He was special. I saw that he was special on the field, even in August when I was there, and he has only gotten better. But when you turn over the ball 5 times and still win the game, that gives you all the confidence in any quarterback that's out there, any team, to go and be able to eliminate their competition this time around. I heard Vic Fangio, great defense. You aren't overlooking them. They're top to bottom, complete. They're scary. They're game breakers. Vic Fangio this week said something really nice about your quarterback. He said that he was, young by birth certificate, but not by tape. He basically said he's not a rookie. Would you like to say something nice about their quarterback?
About Jalen Hurts or about
Jalen?
Jalen Hurts Jalen Hurts is an outstanding quarterback, man. He's performed it's not easy to succeed and excel in that Philadelphia market. For him to lead them to the Super Bowl a few years ago and did everything he could to win that game. And he hurt us a lot in that ball game, both ball games, with his legs before he got injured, especially the one at Northwest Stadium. So he's a matchup problem as well. He can do things hurting you. I know he's a little banged up, so I don't know how that injury will affect his mobility, but you got to respect him. And he has a quiet confidence about himself as well, and very poised as well. A lot of similarities between Jalen and Jaden. So there's a great deal of respect for Jalen in that Commanders locker room, and me and that Eagles football team. Man, they got a great football team. That Big Fangio, man, he has a game record on and Jalen Carter on that defensive line.
It's true, and they're coached up so well. They've got these game breakers. They're super confident as well. They get to play at home. But Saquon Barkley seems unstoppable. I have Luke Kuechly on my show. He'll be in the Hall of Fame with you someday. I know it. And he couldn't give me answers, really. He tried. He did what they have to do, what happens. He's going to go off. He's going to get his 150 yards. It's going to happen. I want to know, if 2011 London Fletcher was out there on Sunday, how many yards on the ground is Saquon rushing for?
Oh, man, I would have loved that challenge. I'd say this. I would have loved that challenge. And Saquon's a great back. I think the thing that you have to do with Saquon is be patient and have discipline in your gaps. Don't assume that he's going to, jump into another gap. Or you have to be patient. You have to be disciplined. The corners are going to have to tackle and show up and run support. And, you got to take great angles. As you see the Rams, free safety missed that tackle. So there's a lot of things that you have to do. And you have to do it for 60 minutes because he could bottle him up for 3 quarters and like we did the first time in Philadelphia, 3.5 quarters, and then he can break out the rest of the game, have these long, explosive runs. But you have to be patient in your run gaps, and it has to be everybody. Defensive linemen have to stay square on blocks, get off blocks. If you can get penetration in the backfield before you get going, those are ways that you can stop him. But do not jump out of your gap because he has the speed and explosiveness to make you pay if you get out of your run gap.
Don't jump out of your gap. Answer the question, though, London. How many yards on the ground would he get if you were out there? If this is 2011, Saquon Barkley versus London Fletcher.
Listen, I'm not trying to give Saquon any motivation. Listen, I would have, me, a young Fletcher, I would have loved the challenge. I would have loved the challenge.
Okay.
The great ones brought out the best in me. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, you're telling me you're the only player I've ever heard that says he liked to play in Philadelphia. Everybody hates it. Everybody hates the. You're like that. You got up for that.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. Yeah, it was like one of those. I felt like a gladiator. Mel Gibson in Gladiator, where you just
Russell Crowe, you're
Russell Crowe.
London. You were
Russell
terrifying. Crowe. It's like you're such a nice
Russell
guy,
Crowe.
but you were just a nightmare. A nightmare.
Man, I loved it because their fan base, they're gonna let them know if they don't like the way they're playing, and they're gonna let you know. Yeah. I remember the first time when I was in Washington, we went there. We played on a Monday Night Football, and I had played in Philadelphia before, but never on a night in a Monday night. And as we were driving our buses into the stadium, they started throwing eggs at the bus, and it was like I enjoy that because I was like, oh, it's on, it is on, it is on. But man, I love that environment.
And I think Jaden Daniels and company love it as well. We're going to take a TV break, but we're staying live. I have questions about your other team right after this.
Josh is more accurate. And he's developing to.
He's become more accurate.
Yeah, he's become more accurate, and he just knows how to do whatever it takes to win a football game, man. And I love that about him.
Love that. Well, hopefully I see you at the Super Bowl. We're back with London Fletcher, all-time great for Washington, and we just talked about the Bills on our YouTube. That'll be YouTube exclusive. We'll get it out on Twitter. I'm so appreciative. This is such an honor, and I hope I see you in New Orleans, London.
All right.
Just don't sack me and do any of that mess to me. I'd be not a good deal. Thank you, London.
All right, thanks, Kay.
Enjoy every minute. We